Khajuraho is a city near Chattarpur in Chattarpur district of the Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. One of the most beautiful and popular tourist destinations in India. Khajuraho has the largest group of medieval Hindu and Jain temples famous for their erotic sculptures. The Khajuraho Group of Monuments has been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1980 and is considered one of the seven wonders of India. The town's name, anciently Khajuraho, is derived from the Sanskrit word Khajur, meaning date palm. As per the historical archives, the Khajuraho temple site had 85 temples during the 12th century spread over 20 square kilometers. Among these, only 25 temples have survived the course of time spread over 6 square kilometers. The history of Khajuraho Group of Temples. Built in the medieval century by the Chandela Dynasty, the UNESCO site of Khajuraho Group of Monuments is famous for its Nagara-Style architecture and graceful sculptures of nayikas and deities. The splendor of the intricate statue is one of the reasons that make it is a popular site to visit among tourists. Built between 1950 to 1050 AD by the Chandela Dynasty, these temples represent various forms of meditation, spiritual teachings, and relationships through stimulating art. The temples are famous for their craftsmanship that consist of a splendid demonstration of fine sculptures and exceptional architectural skill, making them one of the most stunning UNESCO World Heritage Sites in India. Outstanding universal value. The group of temples of Khajuraho testifies to the culmination of northern Indian temple art and architecture of the Chandela Dynasty, who ruled the region in the 10th and 11th centuries, distributed over an area of 6 square kilometers in a picturesque landscape. The 23 temples that form the western, eastern, and southern cluster of the Khajuraho group of monuments are rare surviving examples that display the originality and high quality of Nagara-Style temple architecture. The Khajuraho group of monuments demonstrate in layout and physical form the pinnacle of temple architectural development in the northern India. Built in sandstone, each temple is elevated from its environment by a highly ornated terraced platform or jagati on which stands the body or jangha, whose sansam is topped by a tower or sikra of a type unique to Nagara, where the verticality of the principal spire atop the sansam is accentuated by a series of miniature spires flanking it, each symbolizing Mount Kailasa, the abode of God. The plan of temple shows the spatial hierarchy of axially aligned interconnected spaces. The temples are entered through an ornate entrance porch which leads to the main hall, through which one accesses the vestibule before reaching the sansam. The main hall of the temple were often accompanied by lateral transepts with projecting windows as well as circumambulatory path to the sansam. The larger temple had an additional pair of transepts and were accompanied by subsidiary shrines on the four corners of the Jagat. Temples of Khajuraho are known for the harmonious integration of sculpture with their architecture. All surfaces are profusely carved with anthropomorphic and non-anthropomorphic motifs depicting sacred and secular themes, sculpture depicting acts of worship, clan and minor deities, and couples in union, or reflect the sacred belief system. Other themes mirror social life through depiction of domestic scenes, teachers and disciples, dancers and musicians, and amorous couples. The composition and fineness achieved by the master craftsmen give the stone surfaces of the Khajuraho temple a rare vibrancy and sensitivity to the warmth of human emotions. The complex of Khajuraho represents a unique artistic creation, as much as for its highly original architecture as for the high quality sculpted decor made up of mythological repertory of numerous scenes of amusement that include scenes susceptible to various interpretations, sacred or profane. The temples of Khajuraho bear an exceptional testimony to the Chandela culture, which flourished in central India before the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate at the beginning of the 13th century. Among the 85 temples, only 25 temples have survived till date. These are separated into three groups: the Western group of temples, the Eastern group of temples, and the Southern group of temples. The Western group of temples. The Western group is very close to the archaeological museum, and it includes the temples of Lakshmana, Matangeswara, Vahra, Kandarya Mahadev, Chitragup, Parvati Viswanath, and Nandi. This group of temples is approximately 870 70 marvelous sculptures engraved on the interior and exterior walls. Just after entering the Western group, the plaque of the rites gives a brief introduction to the history of the Khajuraho. The main attraction of this place is a shivling and the beautiful floral carving in the center of the temple. The three outer sections of the walls depict the sculptures of goddesses and Hindu mythological creation. Among the Western group of temples, the most important temple is Kandariya Mahadev temple. Built between 1025 to 1050, the temple rises in successive towers like a range of hills. The lintel of the temple has a four-armed Shiva lined by Lord Brahma, the creator, and Lord Vishnu and preserver. Another important temple of this group is Jagdambi temple. Jagdambi temple is another name for goddess Parvati, wife of Lord Shiva. On a platform inside the center of the temple, a sculpture of Lord Vishnu is beautifully carved. There are also a few sculptures of Sura Sundaris which are particularly appealing. Next temple is Chitragupt temple. This temple is dedicated to Lord Surya the sun. There is also a sculpture of 11-headed and 8-armed Lord Vishnu in the south of the temple. The sculpture of the divine couple deities Brahma, Brahmani, Shiva Parvati, Bhaira Bhairavi and Lakshmi Narayan have special architecture features. In this group of temples there is also a museum. This museum has some amazing sculptures and artifacts which are well displayed with their names and perspective edge. An 11th and 12th century statue of Sambhavanath is placed in the Jain gallery which is situated on the left of the museum. A sculpture of Varaha with 6 heads and a dancing Ganesh are the exquisite statues to see in the museum. There are many other temples in the Western group which have similar architectural significance. The Eastern group of temples, Vamana temple. Vamana temple is dedicated to the fifth incarnation of Lord Vishnu and is built between 1050 to 75. The temple have a few erotic carving and a four-armed standing Lord Vishnu on its lintel. Jawari temple, built between 1075 to 11,000, Jawari temple stands on a high plinth and has a raised sikra. Its delicately carved Makara Torana arch is a fine example of the stone carving skill of the people of this era. Parasnath temple. The temple is one among the couple of the old temples that were constructed using honey-colored sandstone. The temple is a Jain temple built between 950 to 970, but also hold images of the deities of Vaishnava faith Lord Vishnu. Adinath temple, Santinath temple, Ghantai temple, Brahma temple, a few other temples in this group with significant architectural and historical. The southern group of temples, Duladev temple. The temple is also known as Kumar Mat and term Dula is associated with the notion of the bridegroom temple. The flying celestials of the uppermost Sikra tower are the most impressive feature of this temple. An amazing artistic skill can be observed in the carved jewelry of the female figures of the temple. It is considered that the temple was built between 1100 to 1150. Chattarpur temple. This temple is the only temple in Khajuraho that does not have a single erotic sculpture. At the entrance of the temple, the sculpture of Ganga and Jamuna is beautifully carved. There is also a marvelous sculpture of Lord Vishnu that seems as if the god is about to step out and bless his devotees. Authenticity. The property is fully authentic in terms of its location and setting, forms and designs, and materials and substance. Its historic location has not changed. The forms, design, and material authenticity illustrate the element of the mature form of northern Indian temple architecture, including a combination of Saptaraha plan topped by a form of Sikra unique to the Nagara, set in a picturesque landscape. These temples show the celebration of Chandela culture and power. Integrity. Khajuraho Group of Monuments include all the elements necessary to express its outstanding universal value, including 23 temples that together demonstrate the originality and high quality attained in northern Indian Nagara-Style temples artisans. The property is of adequate size to ensure the complete representation of the features and processes that convey the property's significance and does not suffer from adverse effect of development or neglect. To safeguard the temples within their landscape setting, the western, eastern, and the southern clusters are east fenced, thus delineating the protected limit. This curbs the spillover of settlement that once compromised a part of Chandela Empire. Identified potential threats to the integrity of the property include the nearby Khajuraho airport in the form of possible vibration, increased volume of dust particles, etc. Protection and management. Khajuraho Groups of Monuments is owned by the Government of India and managed by Archaeological Survey of India through the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains MASR Act 1958 and its Rule 959, Amendment 1992 and Amendments and Validation Act 2010. The MASR Acts also delineate prohibited and regulated areas extending 100 meter and 200 meter respectively from the designated monument. The land abutting the monuments is managed jointly by the Revenue Official and the Archaeological Survey of India, with the latter responsible for the final approvals. The Chandela ruled the area from the 9th century, who were subject to the Gurjara Paitharas. During the reign of Danga, the Chandelas became independent and many important temples were built during this time. The Chandelas were dealt with fatal blows, first from the Chahmaz of Sakambari in 1182, then from Qutub al-Din Aibak in 1202. Khajuraho declined to a small village as the Chandelas transferred their activities to the forts of Mahoba, Kalinjar and Ajaygarh. Ibn Battuta visited Khajuraho and described the presence of temples and a few ascetics. Some temples were damaged by Sikandar Lodi in 1495. By the 16th century, Khajuraho became an insignificant place and was only rediscovered by C.J. Franklin in 1819. However, the actual distinction of bringing Khajuraho back to the world's attention is given to T.S. Bird, a British Army captain who visited it in 1838. The next significant visitor was Alexander Cunningham between 1852 to 1855. Thus also shows the life clan of ancient India. Be the next visitor to this wonderful site, as the site not only depicts erotic sculptures carved on their walls, but also they shows the life cycle of medieval people, through which we can know how life runs in the medieval times. So friends, keep exploring and visit this site.